높인 경기장 도시형.
All right, guys, here we go into day 3 of the IPL Team Arena Challenge number 2. And on the right side of the map, in the purple, as usual, is from the team Vile, and his name is WR1. And on the left side of the map, I pity the fool who don't take this Terran seriously. In the red from FXO, the Towel Terran, he is GuMiho.
Interesting that they're using an account from a guy from Dream Team Gaming, as a matter of fact. So thought
Friends
that was kind of
all
interesting. Yeah, I suppose so.
Yep. I gotta say, too, I have shaken GuMiho's hand in real life, and it is genuinely one of the sweatiest hands I've ever shaken.
Wow, that is a surprising amount of information that I never actually wanted to know. But
just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, as most pro gamers in Korea are, also very nice and very willing to talk and stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, I have a cool little story about WR1 as well. I remember when I was casting my little free tournaments and stuff like that out of the middle of my basement with my wife yelling at me from the other room. And the first pro player I ever had in one of my events was WR1. At the time, he was actually root. And I remember popping into a game with him and got to cast his game, and it was a big moment for me. It was like, wow, this is actually a pro player that I get to watch, that I get to cast. It was a big deal. I made a big fanboyish post on the root forums at the time, and I remember QXE was like, oh, that's cool. Cast any of our games if you want. And people were like, QXE, why are you being so nice? Anyway.
QXE's just a nice guy, man. That's just what he does all the time.
And right away, we have a refinery coming down for GuMiho. So he's not just going to go into a gasless FE here on Shattered Temple.
Yep, that is correct. It's kind of a small map for that. I mean, we do see Terrans do it pretty frequently, but I don't know. I've always felt a little bit iffy about it. I've seen a lot of Terrans get punished for doing something like that, especially against Protoss. So
sure.
Not surprised to see a gas go up for him. The question is, will it be some sort of 1-1-1, or will it be some sort of barracks expand with some sort of add-on after that? You know, or is he going to throw down a second barracks possibly and try to put some pressure on? We'll kind of just have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like WR1 going to come back. And no, actually, he's just happy with the amount of scouting information. Yep. Excuse me, he gained, leaves the room.
Ah, and there's the tech lab. Yep. So this could be a Marauder expand. He might decide to make a Reaper and just kind of pop in his opponent's base and check things out a little bit. Either way, it's going to be a pretty quick expansion for our Terran player as well. Going to have to see what WR1 decides to do, though, if he's going to go ahead and try to expand off one gate. No, he has gas, so he's not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it still could be like
like
a 2 or 3 century 1-gate expand or something like that. But more than likely, it's going to be safer than that. We're going to see some additional gateways or some tech.
You know, I got to say though, this is a great map for a Void Ray all-in too. And I mean, I am not opposed to players doing all-ins if they've got a good reason to. So if WR1 decides to do that on this map, I'd say that'd be perfectly reasonable.
All right, well, let's see here. So I certainly see, you know, WR1's a guy who can take down very good players as well. I saw him actually beat Nesty in an online tournament as well, and this is the same sort of situation. Looks like it's being played on the NA server, so don't count anyone out here. I would say that GuMiho is the heavy favorite to take this game, but certainly don't count anyone out.
Yep. Yeah, we will see. Probe did get away from the Marauder because concussive shells had not yet finished. Okay, so it is going to be gate into Robo, then probably going to throw down a couple more gateways before expanding after this if he wants to stay super safe. And yeah, really, this is the ultimate safe opening against Terran.
Whoa.
Really good thing to do. Oh, but it's going to be a 3-rex from GuMiho. This is kind of what I keep talking about. We see this every once in a while. This is what I like to call a skill check. You see a lot of Korean players do this against foreigners they may not have played against before. They do usually some sort of cheesy build initially just to kind of see, you know, how their opponent reacts to it. So looks like GuMiho going to push in a little bit with that Marine. He does lose it, but he doesn't lose any of the Marauders. So he's still going to put a little bit of pressure on. But yeah, will WR1 survive the skill check? We'll have to wait and see.
We'll certainly find out, though. You know, interesting. Looks like, well, it's going to be a 2-gate Robo for now, possibly into a 3-gate Robo here in just a second. But 3-gate Robo versus 3 racks? Is this like a game from a year and a half ago? Because that's kind of what it feels like at the moment. I realize it's the skill check you were talking about, but...
Well, and here's the thing, too. I mean, if WR1 plays this build like he should survive this. I mean, he might be a little bit surprised to see it, but... You know, I think he should be able to handle it. He's got an Immortal coming out already. That's going to help out a lot against the Immortals. And, you know, GuMiho may just decide, to expand off of this. I was wondering if he was just going to do that after seeing the amount of units at the front there. And that's perfectly reasonable, too. I mean, his expansion's a little bit later than it would normally be. But it's not, you know, terminally late, so he's going to do just fine as well.
Looks like WR1's going to expand out of this as well. There's 400. There's a Nexus. And there's still a pretty big contingent of Marauders sitting up here at the front, though. And GuMiho's going to poke in. He is going to get a time on this Nexus. We'll see if he has enough units here to actually force a cancel. Oh, we do have an Immortal that just popped out.
Yeah, that's going to keep WR1 oodles of safe.
Oh, a couple of good force fields right there.
Yeah.
And a nice decision, actually, by WR1. He goes after the units on the outside of the force field because he knew the ones at the back would actually be trapped for a longer period of time.
Yeah. So GuMiho is going to have to pull back a little bit here. He's not going to be able to get any damage done against WR1 right now. Good safe opening from WR1. He's going to push across the map a little bit here. And, you know, you can put some pressure on with this build as well. You know, he might just be going up to take the tower. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out.
A little bit dangerous to go any further than that, I would say.
A little bit of an arbitrary force field there. Didn't trap too many units or force them around for any length of time. This Marauder's in danger of falling, though, on the way back.
You know, there's no bunkers up right now for GuMiho.
No.
But just a bunch of sentries and an Immortal. WR1's going to need to do this very, very carefully. Oh, man, he really needs to wait for that next round of warp-ins.
Yeah, he does.
This is risky.
Yeah, it was, okay. He's pulling back to that pylon right now. We're going to see a couple extra units here in just a second. But yeah, Stim is done. It looks like he's going right after the Immortal. It does fall. A couple of Zealots now brought in, but the Force Field's actually only trapping off one unit and actually allowing the Marauders to run around and avoid the Zealots. Another Stim comes out from GuMiho. Looks like he's just going after sentries and starting avoiding those Zealots for a decent length of time. And then he's going to make his way out across the map, but those are very low health Marauders.
Yeah, they are, but he did crush that attack pretty well. I mean, like, I was a little bit worried about what WR1 when I saw him moving so far up, and he did kind of pay for it, losing that Immortal, losing a lot of sentries. That's a lot of gas to lose at this point in the game. Now, he is going for Colossi, so he still might be able to hit a pretty good timing, and those Marauders are almost certainly going to die, but if there's one thing they can do, they could infinitely kite those Zealots pretty much all day, but... Oh, and he actually gets them away, too.
Yes, he is.
Wow.
Running back away with those at the moment. WR1, as you mentioned, has that robotics bay up, so we can get some Colossi out here in just a bit. But otherwise, just 3 racks into medevacs now for GuMiho. Despite kind of a weird way to get there, could not be more standard now.
Yep, that's about right. And yeah, so he's got his upgrades going. He's going to have the medevacs coming out pretty soon. Those 3 Marauders really could use a medevac about now. And WR1, I bet he wished he had a few more sentries at this point because he could have used them right now. If GuMiho decides to get aggressive here, might be a little bit of a problem. The first Colossus is getting pretty close to coming up, but that is a lot of Marauders in GuMiho's force. This is such a scrappy little TVT. Both players just going back and forth.
Yeah, definitely.
The short game we've seen so far.
All right. Well, it looks like it's going to continue for a while. There's Thermal Lands. Our first Colossus is done, and very soon WR1 is going to have enough to start his second Colossus. There's 300, and there's another Colossus. Okay, so back on GuMiho's side of things. I like how he kept that bunker up. I really do. I mean, because...
Oh, yeah, you don't want to salvage it quite yet.
So many people, though, do salvage it early, and it's really consideration. Do you need those 75 minerals right then and there?
Well...
because it's certainly worth that if you have to retreat, and it can actually just go back and fall back to the bunker.
Yep, you can see GuMiho putting down that little safety turret as well. You know, he doesn't really know what WR1's doing. He's got a good idea of it, but just in case there'd be some crazy DTs, it's a very cheap investment to get that turret there. Just to stay safe, because nothing feels worse than dying to DTs and being like, oh, I could have just built a turret and this wouldn't have happened. It's the worst feeling ever. So, yeah, that's fine for GuMiho to do that. 4 more gateways coming up now. So it's actually going to be 7 gates. Yep. And there are 2 Colossi out at the moment. Range is not done, however. Looks like it's going to be finished in about 25 seconds. Oh, a big drop coming in. That's going to pull a lot of WR1's forces away. Looks like he's not bringing everything back at the moment, though. He's trying to make sure that he stays safe against what's coming through here at the front. Yep, and a lot of Marines in that composition going up against the Colossus, too. Not the best thing that GuMiho could have hoped for. He's doing some damage with those Marauders, and, you know, he has killed some probes. And is he actually going to? No, he's not going to. All right. No. So, interesting little unit trade there.
Yeah.
Not really a ton of damage done by either side. How many probes did he kill, though? Well, he's killing more, obviously, right now.
Yes, yes, he is. So it looks like he's killed 11, 12 now, but he's going to sacrifice another Marauder to get that done. So 7 workers killed, 212 at the moment. Supply slightly favoring GuMiho right now, but looks like he's up by 7 workers. So they basically have about the same size army. WR1 a little bit ahead. Oh, he's got to watch out, though, and make sure he doesn't get this Colossus picked off. Finally realizes it backs up for just a second and does quite a bit of damage, so GuMiho doesn't get a lot done there.
I have not seen GuMiho be this aggressive in quite a long time, but the position he's in, he realizes that he kind of can be. I mean, he's making a few Vikings now, but he's like, you know what? I just have, a bigger army than you. You don't have a lot of sentries because I killed a lot of them. I can actually get in there and try to snipe your Colossus and still micro away in time to do okay. That time is kind of over now, but
yes,
you can see him trying to kind of press his advantage there. So a nice job by WR1 to kind of keep his head cool and hold that at that point.
All right, well, let's see here. We do have another base coming up for GuMiho at the moment as he clears up those rocks to the third. But because he did invest in that and hasn't put the 400 resources into units, it does give WR1 a nice little timing here. We have two things going on at once. It looks like he picks off the tech lab and attacks to the front. Now, he is being dropped at the same time. We'll get to that after the resolution of this fight here in just a second, because it looks like that's doing some pretty good damage. Okay, it looks like WR1's going to go right through the front. GuMiho is cleaning up some units over here, though.
WR1's got this, I think.
Yes, he is.
He's got a pretty big army. GuMiho, oh, he did lose a Colossus there to some units on the high ground.
Yeah.
But he was looking pretty good there for a second. I don't know.
Isn't he pushing? I think he could have just kind of pressed that home for a while, but now it looks like he's going to give time for his opponent to regather himself.
I thought he would have taken out that drop by now. I guess I kind of misjudged things. Things are not quite that far in WR1's favor quite yet.
Yeah, but I think he could have. I do agree with you in the fact, though, that I think he could have tried to push this home, as a matter of fact. Oh, here comes GuMiho pulling some SCVs with this as well.
Nice.
Colossus sitting at the back, traps quite a few units with those force fields, as you mentioned. Yeah, Colossus has quite a few kills. Now we have Zealots reinforcing as well. He's got to back that Colossus up here in just a second. No, it looks like it is just going to go down.
Oh, man, and that was really essential that he kept that thing alive. With it, he might have been able to just win the game there, but without, can't really do that. GuMiho's still doing a little bit of micro there, killing some workers, but it is pretty even. GuMiho's still ahead on supply.
Yeah.
But this is just one of the craziest back-and-forth TVTs I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, this has been kind of weird, actually. So looks like that Stalker has to get away. Very fragile to just one single Marauder up there on the high ground.
WR1's played a really good, safe, standard game, and GuMiho's played a really crazy, insane, aggressive game.
Yes, he has.
And the combination of the two have resulted in things being pretty even up here. Looks like such a small army for GuMiho. He does have a couple medevacs there. That's a very sentry-heavy force. And, microing some of those back with the medevacs.
Pulled some of them back, but actually took a while to get that done. And WR1 was able to kill some additional units up there at the front. And he is starting to press through a few of these, but the reinforcements coming in for GuMiho are proving to be very, very strong. Didn't actually end up targeting most of the sentries at first. Instead, decided to deal with the damage dealers. A bunch of SCVs are pulled off the line. Now we have some Zealots in there as well. Once those start attacking, that's going to be the end for most of those SCVs, as a matter of fact. Let's see here. Now 40 workers killed for WR1 and increasing, but yet somehow, some way, his supply is just not increasing above his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, GuMiho is doing a really good job of keeping that army count as high as he possibly can, but, he's not going to be able to really do it for much longer. He's lost a lot of SCVs here lately. His army is still going to be pretty strong. He's got so many medevacs, too. That's going to make his army much, much more durable. What's the worker count right now?
It is 30 to 34. So
it's not as big of a disparity as we thought, and that army is just way too sentry heavy. He does manage to chase away the medevacs,
yes. Now starting to reinforce with some real damage dealers, but throwing in additional sentries still. I guess that's all he had. I mean, his mineral collection rate is not actually all that great right now, so needs to use that extra gas somehow. There's another stim up. There's finally enough medevacs here, though. They are low on energy, yes, but there's enough of them that these bio units are lasting so much longer, and GuMiho somehow wins game number 1 here, kind of in a very crazy, ridiculous style.